So on Friday in our Google Meet, we did something with special right triangles. And I just wanted to do a quick review in case some of you have forgotten or if you missed the meet or anything like that. And so this slide right here is not in your packet, but you have this written down in your packet somewhere. And it says there are two types, 45, 45 right and 30, 60, 90. So these two pictures I think show it best. So if it's a 45 45, then that makes it an isosceles triangle with a right angle there. And the legs, if you multiply them by the square root of 2, you will always get the hypotenuse. So if you know the leg, you can just multiply it by the square root of 2 to find the hypotenuse. And if you know the hypotenuse, you can divide it by the square root of 2 to get the leg. So that is if it is a right triangle and you know it's isosceles, or they tell you that there are two 45-degree angles in a triangle, and then of course the other one has to be 90. And then we also looked at the 30, 60, 90 triangle, which has a relationship as well between the short leg and the long leg and the short leg and the hypotenuse. And so I had you write down on your paper that the short leg equals no, let me erase that, messed up. The short leg times 2 equals the hypotenuse, which is why we've got 2x equals that. And then the short leg times the square root of 3 equals the long leg, which is right here. And so now that we've had that little review, let's go to another slide, and I'm just going to do a couple problems for you. So this first one here is a 45, 45 right. We know the hypotenuse. Well, I know in a 45, 45 right that the leg times the square root of 2 equals the hypotenuse. So if I take the hypotenuse and divide it by the square root of 2, I'll get my length. The only thing is we can't leave the square root of 2 in the denominator. So we got to multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 2. So on top, that gives me 12 square roots of 2 over, and square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. So x is 6 square roots of 2. And if you wanted to check it, you could multiply that by the square root of 2 and you would get 12. Then we come over to this 30, 60, 90 triangle, and we know the hypotenuse, and we got to find x over here. Well, the first thing you got to do is figure out, is that the short leg or is that the long leg? And so it is across from the 30 degrees. If it's across from 30 degrees, then that makes it the short leg. And we know that the short leg is half of the hypotenuse. Actually, we said 2 times the short leg gives us the hypotenuse. So if I divide the hypotenuse by 2, that should give me the short leg. So in this case, half of 24 is 12. Here on number 3, again, we have a 45, 45 right. And so this time we know the leg. And so our rule says if we multiply that times the square root of 2, then we get the hypotenuse. And in this case, there's nothing to simplify. Our answer is just 12 square roots of 2. Now we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. They again give us the hypotenuse, but this time they give us the long leg. Well, we do not have a relationship to go straight from the hypotenuse to the long leg, but we do have a relationship to go from the hypotenuse to the short leg and then to the long leg. And so the hypotenuse to the short leg says that the short leg is half of the hypotenuse. So if the hypotenuse is 18, then we know this side is 9. And then the rule said the short leg times the square root of 3 equals the long leg. And so 9 times the square root of 3 equals x. Now, this one looks a little bit different. I have a triangle here, and I've got a 90 degrees here and then a 60 degrees. So that means this one has to be 30. And we are trying to find the arrow is drawn at this leg right here, which is across from the 60 degrees. So that would be the long leg. Well, again, we know the hypotenuse. So in order to find the hypotenuse, we first have to find this piece here, which is the short leg. So it'll be half of that. So 3.8 divided by 2 is 19. So this short leg right here, I'm going to highlight it in yellow, just this piece right here is 19. All the way across would be twice that. And so then we've now got to find the long leg. So it would be 19 times the square root of 3. So x is equal to 19 times the square root of 3. And then last we have this square over here. They don't give me any angle measures here except for that 90 degrees. But we've already said that if it's an isosceles right triangle, then you know that the two angles have to be 45 degrees. So they want us to find the diagonal of this square, and we know the leg. And the relationship in this one is that the leg times the square root of 2 would be the hypotenuse. And so that is our answer here. So now you've had a quick review of what to do here, and you can go complete the con that we have for you today. Have a great day.